and let's get this away. So welcome everybody to this Wealth Generators presentation. Now this is an overview and of this presentation, but I'm going to try and cover as many points as I can. Now I usually start this presentation with a very simple question, and the question is, do you work for money or does your money work for you? Now think about that. Do you work for money, or do you have a system where your money is growing and working for you? This is a very famous quote by Warren Buffett, and it says that if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will continuously work until you die. And for most of us, we are yet to find a system, we are yet to find a financial vehicle where our money can grow and work for us. In our everyday lives, we need a vehicle to take us from A to B. So if you're going to work, or you're going to the gym, or you're going to go see your friends, you need a mode of transportation to take you from where you are to where you need to go. So you know where you are and you know where you need to go. Similarly, we need a financial vehicle that can take us from where we are financially to where we need to go financially. Now, we are going to show you a financial vehicle today that is usually only available for the extremely wealthy individuals. However, this will be available to you today, and it is a simply amazing financial vehicle. Now, I'm talking about your money working for you, so what I'm going to do very simply is go through a few points of working for money versus money working for you. Now, when you're working for money, your income growth is linear. So what this looks like, we have this beautiful graph of money against time, whereby when we commit a certain amount of time in our job, we get paid a certain amount of money. We increase this time and we get paid more money. So very simply, our money and time are directly proportional to each other. The more time we're willing to give and sacrifice in our job equals the amount of money that we're going to get paid. Bearing in mind that we are limited here with our time factor, because there is only a certain amount of hours that you can work in your job place. At some point you need to come home, the business needs to close down. Also, as your pay increases in your job, so does the tax. So the tax laws are very heavy for the working person. However, when your money is working for you, your income growth is exponential. So what this looks like is, again, we have this money and time graph whereby we set the foundations correctly at the start, we do the work accurately once, and our money grows for us exponentially and actually has nothing to do with time. There is no time trading involved. Your money just continuously grows for you. Now, usually I go through these points that I'm showing you on your screen in a lot of detail. I'm just going to cover a few points very simply. So when you're working for money, you don't have enough time to enjoy the money. However, when your money is working for you, time freedom is yours. You know, you become the master of wealth. You experience what I call true financial independence. And what we have is a situation where majority of the population are actually working for money, which is a problem. 95% of people believe, or have been taught to believe, that working for money is a very correct way to earn a living. We have been shown that the harder we work, the more time that we put in our job equals the money that we're going to get paid. However, this is financially incorrect. And this is very simply due to the lack of financial literacy in our education system. You know, I've been to college, university, I've got degrees, but I never attended a class tutorial or a lecture that showed me how to make my money grow for me. Our education system has programmed us to believe that the only way that we can earn a living is to work hard for it. Now, I think that, you know, this is a big problem, and this is what this presentation is all about, because the average person is 3 paychecks away from being broke. So if the average person doesn't get their next 3 paychecks in their job, they're in a financial crisis. So what this company has designed for you, or what I'm going to show to you today, is a proven wealth creation system that is designed to help 95% of the population enter this 5% club. So this company is building a bridge, a financial vehicle for you to make this transition, this smooth transition from this 95 to this 5% club. Now, very simply, some of you on the call may be involved in some sort of business yourself, or maybe you're involved in many investments. And I'm sure most of you would agree with me that any investor is always looking for a profitable return of investment of some sort, whether that's in property, precious metals like gold or silver, stocks, shares, any kind of business, but we're always looking for a good return. What else I can tell you is that if any investor is receiving anywhere between 4 and 10% per year on their investment, they are extremely satisfied. That is considered a pretty decent return of investment. Now, in my live presentations and training sessions, I go through various financial vehicles in a lot of detail. For this particular webinar, I'm just going to talk about property for about 3 to 4 minutes. So property is a very popular financial vehicle, as you would agree with me. And in property, we have something called the Rule of 72. Now, the Rule of 72 is a very popular rule in property, and what this rule states is it is a determined way to calculate how long your property will take to double in value given a fixed yield return. So let's say, for example, I was getting something like 10% a year on my property. If I divide 72 by 10, this gives me a rough indication of how long my property will take to double in value. So in this instance, around about 7 years for my property to double in value. If I was getting something slightly less, something like 6% a year, divide 72 by 6, roughly 12 years for my property to double in value. And this is a general rule that we do here, that it takes roughly around 10 years as a rule of thumb for your property to double in value. Now, I usually ask people, is this a good financial vehicle? Is this a good investment? Some people say yes, some people say no. I can tell you that this is a fantastic investment. So your property is doubling in 10 years, very, very good, long-term and stable. The question is, ladies and gentlemen, does the average person qualify to get involved in property? Does the average 95% 95 working people, can they go ahead today and buy the property that they want? And the simple answer to this is no, because if you don't have a good credit file these days and the average person doesn't, then it's very difficult for you to go and borrow money. Okay, that's point number one. Second point is that the average person doesn't have that high initial investment. The average person doesn't have 100,000 or 150,000 pounds, euros, dollars sitting in their bank account waiting for them to go and get that dream property. We don't have the industry knowledge. You know, which property do I buy if I have the money? Do I buy the one across the road? Do I buy the one 3 or 4 blocks down the street? Property does not always increase in value. Properties can come down in value, which is a misconception. One of the things that I've learned over the years is that your property, you know, is not always the asset that you think it is. I determine an asset by an asset puts money in my pocket on a regular basis, and liability takes money out of my pocket on a regular basis. So for example, I have a brand new car right now. That is a liability for me because every month it's costing me money. I have to take money out of my pocket for the car. So if I have a property and let's say I don't have any tenants and I'm paying for this property myself and it's taking money out of my pocket, this seems to become a liability for me now. However, if I have a property and you guys on the call are my tenants and I'm making a profit from this, that is a significant asset for me. Now, another very important factor about property is it is extremely difficult to sell your property in an emergency. I'm originally from India, I have a lot of family there, and let's say, for example, there was an emergency and I needed all the money out of my property. Let's say my property is worth $500,000. Now, how likely is it that I can take all the money out of my property in, say, 3 or 4 days? How do I take out 300,000 or 400,000 pounds out of that brick wall? So it takes a rough period of maybe about 4 to 5 months for you to sell your property. So very simply, property is a great financial vehicle, but it's not for the average person. Now, usually I talk about hedge funds, I talk about traditional businesses, I go into detail about gold or silver. What I'm going to talk about now is a financial vehicle that I think we all need. We need a solution. How do we get the average person to get their money to grow and work for them? Now, what I'm going to introduce to you, ladies and gentlemen, is what I think is the biggest business in the world. I don't think there's anything bigger than this out there, and this is called Forex. Now, Forex is short for foreign exchange, and it is very simply the exchange of currencies. So, for example, when you're going on holiday, let's say, for example, you're going to France, you need to use euros in France because that is a currency that they accept. They will not accept pounds, dollars, or Japanese yen, for example. So how Forex works very simply, let me give you a quick example. Let's say, for example, I'm going to France on holiday. And let's say I go to the airport and I have £1,000 with me and I take my £1,000 and I convert it for euros, and let's say I get 1,400 euros for my £1,000. So I take this 1,400 euros, I go to France, and then I realize, hey, I can actually use my credit card everywhere I go. So I don't actually need to spend this 1,400 euros cash that I have. Let's say I use my credit card for all my expenses. I'm now returning to the UK. I go to the airport and I realize I still have this 1,400 euros with me. This is now useless to me because I'm returning to the UK and I need pounds sterling. So I go to the airport, I go to the currency exchanger, I give my 1,400 euros in, and instead of me receiving £1,000, I actually receive £1,015 or £1,020. So I made a slight profit from that. There could be a situation where actually I receive less money. I receive £994. Why this has happened? Because as the demand of currencies increase, so does the price. So Forex is very simply the exchange of currencies. It's the buying and selling of currencies at the rate based on the supply and demand. Now, let me talk to you about some big industries out there. You know, we have the car industry, which is a huge industry, doing around 16.7 trillion a year. The oil industry is doing around about 5 trillion a year, and the travel industry is doing around 7 trillion a year. Now, a trillion is a very, very large number. It's a huge number. You know, some people can't actually digest or, you know, see the magnitude of the word trillion. I mean, we say the word million very easily, but a million is quite a big number, so is a billion. These are large industries. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking to you about an industry that is doing $5.4 trillion every single day. Now, just let that marinate for a few seconds. Let that digest. 5.4 trillion every single day. America currently is around about 17 trillion in debt. This is by far the biggest financial market in the world. And because it's the biggest market in the world, we have all the top investors in the world that are contributing in this marketplace. The likes of Warren Buffett, George Soros, and Richard Branson make daily profits from the biggest market in the world. This individual, George Soros, you want to do a bit of research about him, he actually made $1 billion in a single day in the Forex market. He made $1 billion in one day. So if somebody shows you how to make 15 million or 20 million or $1 million in 5, 10, 15 years, don't be alarmed by this. This is the biggest market in the world. However, we have not been given this knowledge. This is not in our education system that we can have our money grow and work for us. Because it's the biggest market in the world, we also have these big corporations and individuals that are involved as well, such as the banks. So the money that you put into your bank, your hard-earned money that you make, you give your money to the bank take your money, they make daily profits in the biggest market in the world, and they give you peanuts for it. So they're using your money and they're making more money with that. Individual investors do the same thing, so do the big supermarkets. So when you go for your shopping, Tesco, Sainsbury's, Asda's, they make daily profits from the biggest market in the world, as well as central banks, large corporations, and the hedge funds. Now, the reason why these individuals are involved in Forex, not only because it's the biggest market in the world at 5 trillion per day, they understand how money grows through a fascinating concept known as compounding. Compounding is the very reason why a millionaire is now able to continue to be a millionaire and now a multi-millionaire, and what allows a billionaire to become a multi-billionaire. I'm currently writing a book about financial literacy, and if you read any good entrepreneurial-based book, it will simply tell you the fact that compounding is the secret to wealth. You know, they asked Warren Buffett, they asked him, give us 3 reasons what allows you to become wealthy, and what he said is being born in America, so being born in the land of opportunity and abundance, having good genes, so being able to live for a long period of time, and having access to a system that allows me to do compounding. Now, I'm going to give you some information about compounding throughout this presentation. As you can see here, this is a very famous quote by Albert Einstein. He says, compounding profits, if fully understood, is like the 8th wonder of the world. It's like the Taj Mahal. It is simply fantastic if fully understood, but most people don't understand it. Now, I'm talking about Forex. I'm talking about the biggest industry in the world. Now, there is a lot of material available out there for you to go and learn how to trade yourself. there's many people who know Forex is a big market and you can make huge profits daily, and they pay thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds to go and learn this stuff, and then they're left by themselves. So what I'm going to talk to you about is something known as the rule of 90 in Forex. And what this rule states is that 90% of people lose 90% of their money in the first 90 days of learning how to trade Forex. Just let that digest. 90% of people fail in Forex. So what do the multi-millionaires do? What do the multi-billionaires do? Well, these people are a lot smarter than us. What they do is they pay the professionals, they pay the market experts to get their money to grow and work for them. And it amazes me that we pay the professionals and take advice from the professionals in so many various aspects of our lives. But when it comes to money, we simply don't do the same thing. Let's say, for example, you had a bad tooth pain, or I had a bad tooth pain and I couldn't do this presentation for you this evening. What would I do if I had a bad tooth pain? Well, I would go and I would consult a dentist. I would pay the professional to solve my tooth problem. Similarly, I would pay a professional to fix my car. You know, same way, for example, I would pay a professional to have a haircut. I would never attempt to give myself a haircut, or I'll never attempt to fix my own tooth problem. So what I'm trying to say, ladies and gentlemen, is we need to pay the professionals to get our money to grow and work for us. You know, I would never think to myself that, you know, I have some books on dentistry, or, you know, I could learn how to do dentistry and I can fix my own tooth problem. No, we don't have time. We pay the professionals. This is what all the celebrities and the multimillionaires do. They pay the professionals. But the reason why we don't pay the professionals is because no one taught me that I have to pay a professional to get my money to grow and work for me. However, thanks to technology, which is completely changing our lives, we don't have to be part of this 90 rule. Most of you would agree with me that technology is just blowing up right now. You know, there's something in technology known as Moore's Law, which means that the speed of processes doubles every 18 months. So the mobile phone that you have right now, in 18 months' time, there'll be a better mobile phone with double the capacity, double the potential, double the screen potential. Every single thing about that phone will be doubled. Same with cars, aeroplanes. Technology is the fastest growing industry. We have something now in technology known as an algorithm, which many cars have in there, for example. So for example, my car, when I'm driving down the street and it turns dark, I don't have to switch the lights on. The lights automatically switch on. It's an algorithm. Cars can automatically find an empty car parking space and park themselves. Aeroplanes can automatically fly themselves with an algorithm. So we have algorithms and technology that are doing such amazing tasks. So what we have now, very simply, is a subscription-based app where you can make daily profits from the biggest market in the world, from a very bespoke, unique algorithm. So this opportunity that I'm sharing with you today, ladies and gentlemen, would not be available 10 years ago because technology wouldn't allow this to happen. And this is where I introduce to you Wealth Generators. This company is a financial fitness club. They show you how to find, grow, and keep money in your present circumstances straight from your mobile phone. Now, very similarly how you would go to the gym to become physically fit, you need to go somewhere to become financially fit. Because what I ask individuals is, think about all the jobs that you've had since you left school. Think about all the businesses you've been a part of. Think about all the money that you've made since you were a small teenager, for example. And ask yourself one question. How much of that money do you still have with you today in your pocket? How much of that money is still with you? And most of you would agree with me that we don't have a lot of that money left. Why? Because we are bad at managing our money. So this company shows you how to find, grow, and keep money in your present circumstances. What determines the wealth of an individual is not necessarily how much money they make, it's their ability to keep that money and have a system for that to grow and work for you. Here are the forerunners of the company: Ryan Smith, Chad Miller, Annette Rayner, and Mario Romano, who I am in touch with regularly for these four people. Very, very nice people. These four individuals have over 80 years combined business experience in this field, and they have hired the top 15 market professionals that they can find in the world. They used to own a company where they used to teach people how to trade. But however, what they found is that 90% of people fail. So they took 10% of those people and they've come up with this beautiful, beautiful company, and they have a suite of financially fit products, which is simply fantastic. Now, the company that they used to have, they actually sold that company for around $300 million, and is now actually owned by a very famous entrepreneur and author, Mr. Robert Kiyosaki. Mr. Robert Kiyosaki now owns the company that they used to own. And these four individuals are the reason why Wealth Generators grows month after month. Now, for me, and this is just my opinion, the slide that you see on the screen right now is probably the most important slide, and this is where I think everybody should be taking out their little pen and paper and making a note of this. Wealth Generators is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Now, a lot of people don't know what the BBB is. Let me give you a little bit of information about the BBB. The BBB is one of the biggest organizations in the world that rate the reliability, performance, and credibility of millions and millions and millions of businesses. So what this company would do is they would do a full check and an investigation on the company. They will check that if this company offers you any guarantees, do they actually give those guarantees? Do they advertise accurately? Are they transparent? Do they tell the truth? Do they honor promises? What do they do with your information? They will go ahead and check, who is this person? Who is Chad Miller? Who is Annette Trainer? They will do a full vet and investigation on every single part of the company. Any stats, any performances I show you, they will do a full vetting and check to see everything is accurate. Now, the BBB is one of the top 1,000 visited websites in America and the UK. They have done a full investigation, and they have come back and given Wealth Generators an A+ accreditation. So you can go to the Better Business Bureau website. You can type in Wealth Generators, and you can check for yourself. They have been given an A+ accreditation. So that shows you that this company is very safe, and it is very, very comfortable. You should feel very comfortable about what this company do. Now, I've talked a little bit about property, financial vehicle, bit of introduction of the company, and now let me show you the performance of the company. Now, before I do that, I want to show you very quickly the power of compounding. So let's say, for example, if I had £1,000, euros or dollars, doesn't really matter, I had £1,000 to invest. If I invested £1,000 into a financial vehicle, and if I was able to get something like 2% profit every single month on my investment, that means that £1,000 at 2% profit every single month in 1 year is a total profit of £1,268. So that means that if I'm able to get 2% every single month on my investment, I can get a 26.8 return of investment in a single year, which is simply fantastic. My property will probably give me something around between 6 and 10% a year. So that means that in 3 years, if I'm able to get 2%, a month, in 3 years my investment doubles. At 4% a month, my 1,000 gives me a 60% return of investment in 1 year, and my investment doubles every 2 years. And it is a fact that £1,000 compounded at 6% profit every single month doubles my investment in 1 year. So if I have a financial vehicle that can give me these results, $1,000 at 6% every single month is $1 million in 10 years. You can bring the best accountant, the best mathematician in the world, he will not argue with these values. So what I'm showing you is pretty much the power of compounding. And if we have a financial vehicle that can give us this is simply amazing. And what we do have is products that are giving you fantastic results. This is our latest product. I'm not going to go through all our products today. This is just an overview. This is our latest product called the FX Accelerator. Now, this product is averaging around about 5% a month. Now, in the first month, they had a negative minus 1.4%. Now, this company shows you every single trade that they do, and that is all available on our website, www.wealthgenerators.com/performance. You can check every single trade this company has done. Now, May was probably not a full month, that's why it showed negative 1.4%. However, in June, they did 5.9%. So what I would have got in my property in a single year, I could have got in a single month with this product. If I had $100,000 or £100,000 in this product, in June I would have made £6,000. Simply fantastic. July was 5.1%. August was 0.7%, which may not seem very good for you guys. However, I can tell you that if I was getting 0.7% every single month, that is roughly around about 8% for the year, which is very, very good indeed. September 7.6, October 7.3, 7.7, 3.9, 6.3. This product is averaging around 5% a month, which is simply amazing. Now, another product that we have is called the FX Multiplier. Now, the FX Multiplier actually has never had a losing day of trade in 3 years of operating. So it loses trades, but by the end of the day, the product is always in profit. This is an account that shows on the website, and every table that I'm showing you is available on our website. So here is an account deposit of just under $10,000, has had a 35% return on investment, 35% return on investment in 10 months, which is simply amazing. You can actually go on the website and see every single trade this account has done. It is simply fantastic. Now, as I said, technology improves, algorithms improve, and the multiplier has been upgraded to the Multiplier 2.0, which is now currently running. And over the 5-month period of testing, this product has had a 42.9% return on investment on $1 million account in 5 months. That is really, really good results, ladies and gentlemen. So our products are giving you kind of anywhere between 2 and 8% a month. Now, past performance is not a guarantee of future results. However, we can only go based on looking on what the product has done. And I'd rather go and bet on a horse that is winning. I'd rather go with a product that is consistently getting the results correct. Now, had we had this conversation 3 years ago, an account of $10,000 would have been worth just under $90,000. So the company have come up with new products. They have some old products that are still running, and with the old products 3 years ago, you know, they were getting around about 6%. So 10,000 became 20,000, 20,000 became 40,000, 40,000 became roughly 80, 90,000. The company has been running since 2013, and they do have some periods with the previous products where it has been a little bit down, but wealth is generated over a long period of time. So it's up and down, but it's upwards. So had you joined, for example, in this period here, you might not have been fully satisfied. However, in this period here, they were on the gain, they were on the rise, and it's this up and down which allows us to get daily profits. Now, let me show you how this all works. Very simply, you have your investment. Your investment goes into a broker. Now, a broker is a very safe and reliable place to keep your money. A broker is probably safer than a bank. Now, the brokers that we have are FCA regulated brokers, Financial Conduct Authority regulated. So what that does for you and what that does for me is it tells me that our money is in a very safe, reliable and secure place. Your investment can only go from your bank or credit card company to the broker, and from the broker back to your bank or credit card. These are the only two directions in which your investment can move. So you can pay by credit card or you can do a bank transfer. Now, you can take all of your money or a portion of your money out of your broker in 2 business banking days. So let's say, for example, you had £300,000 in your broker and you needed all that money tomorrow. 2 business banking days, you can have all of your money out. It's not like property. You can take all or a portion of your money out in 2 business banking days. It is simply amazing. We have some customers who put money in on the first day, and the very next day they take that money out just to test the system. However, your money sitting in a broker does nothing for you. It just sits there. To get your money to grow and work for you, we need to introduce wealth generators and their financial fit products attached with these professional market experts, and now your money is in a position to grow and work for you. Now, what the broker would do, the broker will take your money and it will split your money into various tier 1 bank accounts. So your money is in a very, very safe, reliable environment. One very important point, ladies and gentlemen, your investment and your money is not with wealth generators. Your money is not with the company. Your money is sitting in your broker in a financially regulated environment, which is readily available for you at any given time. Now, let's say, for example, you put £5,000 into this product, and our products are ranging between 2 and 8%. Let's say you were able to get 6%. Let's say you were able to get an average of 6%, and let's say you left your money to compound and grow over a period of 6 years. So you can turn £5,000 into £330,000 in 6 years, provided you were getting something around about 6%. Now, for example, the average person doesn't have £100,000 or £150,000 to go ahead and buy that property. However, the average person, given the right financial literacy, can very easily save £5,000, even if it took him a year to save £5,000. And if you were able to accumulate, say, £330,000, you could take out £230,000 and go and buy a property or invest that money and create an asset for yourself. You could leave the £100,000 in your broker. Let's say the product did 4% next month. You could take out £4,000 as your spending money for that month. Let's say next month the product did a nice juicy month, they got something like 8%. You could take out £8,000 as your spending money for that month. Let's say they did a low month, they got 3%. You could take out £3,000. So you could create an asset for yourself where your money is growing and working for you, and the product is simply throwing money at you every single month based on that monthly percentage, and you can take that money out in 2 business banking days. Let's say it came to a situation where you wanted to take all of that £100,000 out and you want to maybe buy a brand new car. 2 business banking days, you can take your money out. So your money is growing and working for you, and you can have access to your money at any given time. It is simply amazing. Now, a very quick information about our brokers, not going to go into too much detail. Here is one of our brokers here. This broker is based in London in Fleet Street. It's called Alpha Capital Markets, which is a FCA regulated broker. You can read all about the information about our brokers. Our brokers give you insurance up to £250,000 up to £2 million insurance, which is way better than the banks are giving you. Here is another one of our brokers here. As you can see here, 2.5 million coverage, FX Primus. And we have various brokers depending on which product you're going to go for. Now, the question comes down to how much would you pay for a financial vehicle like this? How much would you pay for a product that is regulated, accredited, where your money is growing and working for you? Now, I asked this question to my friend the other day, and I said to him, James, if you gave me £1,000, and if I was able to turn that 1,000 to a million for you, and you had to do absolutely nothing for that 1,000, and I came back to you in 10 years or 5 years or 15 years, and I said, hey, what, James, your 1,000 now is worth $1 million. How much would you give me out of goodwill? How much would you give me as a percentage? And he said, well, if I gave you £1,000 and I had to do nothing for it, I'll give you 50%. And I think that's quite reasonable. If somebody made me £1 million and I didn't have to do anything for it, I'll split it with them. I'll definitely give them 20%, 10%, even 30%. The price and service for you to have access to every single one of our products, and I haven't gone through all of our products, I've just gone through a few products. We have products, for example, where that does your taxes for you, that shows you how to keep money. You can have access to all of our products for $200 every single month. So you have to pay these professionals and these market experts to have access to every single one of our products for $200 every single month. Now that is roughly maybe £40 a week. For £40 a week, you can have your money grow and work for you every single day from the biggest market in the world. I think that is simply amazing. Now, if you were to pay $200 every single month for a year, that is roughly 2,400 euros. And if you were to pay for 10 years, well, that is roughly $24,000 rather. So that is roughly 2% of a million. So it actually is very, very inexpensive. It is very affordable. £40 a week to get your money to go and work for you. Now, if you think that you can't afford this, then I say you can't afford to think like this, because if you can't afford this to get your money to go and work for you, this means that you need to consider something like this, because what you're doing right now is probably not working for you. And this company is giving you something very fantastic. It's called a thank you bonus. A lot of companies give you thank you bonuses. For example, my bank give a thank you bonus. If I recommend Nationwide to you, they will put £100 in my account for me recommending to you and for you joining as a customer. Sky TV do the same thing, so do Virgin, so do various other companies. What this company says to you is find us 3 customers, 3 individuals, 3 people who want to retire early, 3 people who want to pay off their mortgage in the next 10, 15 years. How many people do you know who want to pay their mortgage off for the next 10, 15, 20 years? 3 people who want to pay off, any debts that they have. 3 people who want to buy a property. 3 people who want to send their children to university in the next 10, 15 years. Whatever your situation is, if you find us 3 customers, you bring 3 customers on this webinar with me, and as long as they are active, your subscription is covered. You do not pay a single penny for your subscription. So you find us 3 customers and the company say, thank you very much, we will now cover your subscription for you. So you could potentially have access to this financial vehicle for absolutely free. You can have your money grow and work for you from the biggest market in the world and pay nothing for it, finding 3 customers. Now, if you had 10 of your friends, 10 of your colleagues on a call with me today, I could probably think we could get 3 people to sign up, okay? So a lot of people, cannot afford 200 a month. I think 200 a month is a very, very reasonable price, and you get access to various products. They have a package called the Money Education Package, which gives you access to financial literacy. They show you how to find money. They show you how to keep money. You get access to all the softwares. You get access to something called the WG Pip Room, where you can speak to the traders directly and listen to the voiceover while they're trading. There's something called Money Media, what they have, which is featured by a person called Ross Jardine, who is the money mentor of America. He is known as the money mentor of America. So what we're providing with the Financial Fitness Club is a full financial package for you to transfer from this 95% to this 5% and have access to your money at any given time. They also have something known as the Wealth Generators TV. They have various products where, for example, there's a product called Deductor, which does your taxes for you. They show you how to be tax efficient, and the product and services that they are offering is simply amazing. I believe that every single household needs a financial vehicle like this. I cannot think of one family, one couple, one household that does not need this product, that does not need this financial vehicle to get your money to grow and work for you. And the secret of getting started is getting started. And I think we need to be very smart about our money and definitely consider the options that have been provided to you today. So what I want to say, ladies and gentlemen, is thank you very much for listening. This concludes this overview and presentation. I will be sending this this recording out to you if you want access to it. So thank you very much for joining. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask the questions in the question box, and I'll be happy to answer your questions for you. Thank you very much, and please go ahead and ask any questions if you have them.